can still see it.
Have you seen this yet?
No.
I had Kid Brainer draw 3
Oh,
poses.
no. I have seen it. I think on one of your live streams, right? Yeah.
I love it. Wait, anyway, we can get started. We don't downtown. So welcome to Meet the Monsters with I'm Bruce McHugh. I'm interviewing MegaM00gle this week. He's one of my first monsters, actually. She knew me before the monsters were incepted. We met because I was a big fan of yours. Still am. But you just don't have time to stream anymore.
Yeah. You met me because I was one of the few people on Twitch that streamed Fatal Frame. And I think you got into one of those Fatal Frame games that I was playing.
Yeah, you can't hear me, Jishin? Anybody else having that problem? Test. Here's all the way. Anybody else having a problem? You know how to. All right. So Jishin just has boogers in it.
Gross. Clean those out.
I'll boost myself up a little bit. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of problems sleeping, and I browse different game categories and Twitch looking for new people, and I found her in the first Fatal Frame, and I followed all of your Fatal Frame playthroughs, and then you did Silent Hill that you did?
So when I started, the main reason behind my channel was because I am, as the channel's title suggests, a huge scaredy cat. But I love horror. I love horror movies. I love horror stories. I love horror games. But the thing is that I would always try to convince my friends to play horror games for me because I wanted to watch them, but I hated playing them. And I had a friend in college, and she and we had the exact same taste in games. So I would watch her play all the time. I was a total backseat gamer. But then, got grown up and graduated and moved out here. And then all I had was Spencer. And Spencer hates horror games. He hates playing them. He hates the mechanics. So I could maybe get him to play one game for like 3 hours and he'd give up because he hated it. So a good friend of mine, who's actually one of my moderators, Robo Joe, she convinced me to start playing them on Twitch. And so I kind of tossed it around in my head and I thought, well, maybe if I had other people there with me and, I was talking to people and people were getting a good kick out of me, kind of almost pissing my pants because I was so scared, then it wouldn't be so bad. And so lo and behold, I actually got through tons of games I'd never played before, mostly because it made me feel more comfortable because there were people there having a good time with me. So yeah, I've played the first 4 Silent Hill games, the first 3 Resident Evils, started the 4th one, and then that's kind of when I took my stream break. But I've played all the Fatal Frames. I'm working on The Thing now.
Yeah. So did you finish Resident Evil 7?
I did finish Resident Evil 7. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't finish it yet, but I gotta ask you, did Homeboy steal your car? In the first boss fight?
So the first several times, yes. I didn't realize I was supposed to try to hit him with the car, and then someone else was like, can you get in the car? Can you hit him with the car? And I was like, I don't know. And then lo and behold, I could. So I think I had to fight him probably about 4 or 5 times. And the first several times I was just trying to shoot him in the back of the head with the gun.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Doesn't work.
I I had a lot of people making fun of me for that because they said that I was skating through the game, breaking it because I was really bad at it. Like I killed him on the second try, but he stole my car and I just kind of ran around shanking him while he's doing donuts. And I killed him that way, but nobody else at the time had had him steal the car. So it's nice to meet somebody else who broke the game that way.
Yeah. And I have another friend who streams and he does knife only runs. And I watched him legit do a knife only run for Resident Evil 7. And I was beside myself with disbelief. I didn't think it was possible. So, of course, there are certain fights that you have to use specific weapons for, but everything else he did completely knife only.
Crazy.
I can't. I can't even conceive of it because I'm always out of ammo all the time.
I have a good Udyr turtle stance. I don't think she's gonna get that reference. She doesn't play League of Legends. So when I get scared I have a tendency to do this. And they've called it the turtle stance.
Oh. How far did you get in Resident Evil 7?
I made it to the trailer part, like right after you fight Bill. Is that his name?
The dad?
Yeah, the dad.
Oh, okay, so you haven't been inside the fun house yet?
No,
Well, we'll just say that there's a part, because I don't do well with gore, that I was doing this on stream. I was just like, no.
So if you don't do gore, we're not going to get a Evil Within run, huh?
I actually do have Evil Within, and I have not. I've played parts of it, and that was one of the things I was trying to watch other people do on Twitch. So before I started streaming, I was watching Twitch all the time and trying to watch people play horror games. So this is the greatest invention ever for me because now I can just watch people play horror games all the time. Problem was that I got really frustrated because it was so hard for me to always catch their broadcasts, and so I'd miss huge gaps of the game, and I always feel like I'd watch the same parts over and over.
Yeah.
So, which is what inevitably led to my first stream, which was BioShock, by the way.
Were you archiving your broadcast back then? Because I didn't see that.
No.
I was able to catch your VODs on Fatal Frame, but not BioShock.
Well, I think that Fatal Frame was far after I started. But maybe not. I don't know. BioShock, I still to this day have a lot of technical difficulties, but definitely had a lot of technical difficulties during BioShock.
Right on. Oh yeah, you still owe me Amnesia.
Oh, that one freaks me out so bad.
You started that, but you didn't finish. It's not a gory game.
I know. It's everything else.
I know.
My anxiety's up to here playing that one.
Are you ever planning to do Outlast?
I've got that one too. Rat, you remember Rat with a rifle?
Mm-hmm. Rat with a rifle, yeah.
He got that for me for my birthday last year.
Oh boy.
So I do have to play it eventually.
Pretty soon too, because Outlast 2 is coming up in April.
Yeah, and I've got the DLC for it too. So, yeah, I mean, my list of games is ever growing because there's a lot that I've never played. So, and there's a lot that I just bought used and stuff that I just have sitting around that I haven't gotten to.
Is there any hope for a persistent schedule to come back?
One of the joys of adulthood is work. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky, unlucky, I don't know, lucky enough to get a promotion last year. And so it is hard for me to have a set schedule because I feel like I work late a lot now. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying. Mostly it's a motivation thing because I get home and I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything. And so, but I am trying. I haven't streamed yet this week, but it's on the radar of things that I want to do, should do, but just haven't done.
Funny enough, you started Resident Evil 7 in like a month after I did, and I still haven't finished it. I'll get
I
ahead
get
of
into
myself.
games. So typically when I start, so Resident Evil, I had to do in short bursts because, again, that was another one that I was high anxiety with, at least at the very beginning. And, but when I played Dead Space, I think it was the first Dead Space, I played for like 4 hours the first night. And then I got up the next day and it was a Saturday and I just started streaming probably about 10 or 11 a.m. And I went until midnight and beat that game the next day. That was the longest stream I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I was absolutely determined that I was going to beat that game and it was going to be that day. So,
Do you feel with the combat horror games like Resident Evil and Dead Space and Silent Hill that the anxiety goes down after you get into a comfort level with the combat, as opposed to
uh,
like Amnesia where you have no combat abilities whatsoever and you just
I think that that's a good point. I don't really necessarily think it's because you get used to the combat. I think that games have a what I would call like certain tells.
mhm.
So, in Dead Space, for example, I was freaked out for the first like 2 hours of that game, severely freaked out. But then once you start to understand what sounds to listen for and things like that, then you start the jump scares don't come as easy because you're now used to what warns you that trouble's coming. Um, and I think that a lot of games do that. Resident Evil 7 actually had a slower ramp up to that point. Like I felt like I was really high anxiety for a long time in Resident Evil 7. But then by the end of it, I was definitely more comfortable with it. And also, I was just running away from everything that I could get away from. I was just like, nope, don't want to waste my bullets on you. Bye.
All right. Any games on the horizon that you're specifically eyeballing?
New games
Yeah,
or just,
anything, not just horror related. I know it's the Scaredy Cat project, but if there's
yeah.
anything that you're looking for to
Um,
just play.
I mean, I do play other games on the stream. People don't tend to watch them when I do because they're like, "Oh, she's supposed to do games," you know. But I am looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Hmm.
I am a huge. I mean, as my name implies, I am a big Final Fantasy fan. So, Final Fantasy VII has always been one of those games that I played and I never understood why everyone loved it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, by the way. I'm really sorry because Final Fantasy VII was not my first Final Fantasy. My first Final Fantasy was 9. And so I have a super secret special place in my heart for Final Fantasy 9. And then after 9, I played 8. And then after 8, I played 7. So by the time I played 7, it was pretty old already.
Yeah.
So not only were like the graphics outdated and everything like that, but the story just never made sense to me. I've played that game so many times, and every time I told myself, this time I'm going to understand the story. This time I'm going to pay more attention and I'm going to understand this story. And every time I get about 2/3 of the way in and I'm thinking, yes, 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 I understand it this time. And then the same thing happens. And every time it just goes, everything stops making sense. And so I'm hoping that the remake will actually be a better translation to the story and that it'll make more sense. Because if I understood the story more, I'd probably like the game more, to be completely fair.
I'm there with you, and it is kind of a thing where if you say that you don't like Final Fantasy VII, everybody's just like ready to beat you up.
And it's not that I don't like it. It's just that it always, the story never made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then that always bothered me because the other stories, at least, even Final Fantasy VIII, that story was way out in left field. It was crazy. Monsters falling from the moon. And I still understood that story. So,
I hated it because I I started in Sega Genesis where we had shitty 16-bit sprites, and then we went to PlayStation, which was my most active console when I was a teenager, and there was series Suikoden who had
oh, yeah.
gorgeous, gorgeous sprites. Everything looked amazing. The animations were great. Everything looked good. And then it came a point where 3D started to evolve, and then we traded in these amazing looking sprites for this fucking cardboard garbage looking 3D that Final Fantasy
Popeye
VII.
arms.
Yes, Popeye arms. And I just hated the way it looked. I hated the way it played. I'm one of the only people like you that just doesn't like Final Fantasy VII even. It's a big contingent now.
I'm
Sorry for
definitely
that.
gonna give the remake a shot. I've been I was always under the assumption, I was like, Square's never going to do it. They're just going to make people think that they're going to do it. They're just going to tease people forever because it is such a widely popular game and it's so renowned. Why would you want to mess a good thing up, right? Like
Right.
they have a very real possibility of pissing off a lot of people if they do this wrong. So I always thought to myself, that's a big risk to take. So the fact that they're doing it, I'm really impressed. So we'll see. And they even have said that we will still get cross-dressing Cloud in high definition. So
explain that, please.
wait, you don't remember when you are in sector, what is it, like sector 5 or something, you have to go into Don Corneo's mansion, and because Tifa's there and she's like, you know, he goes out and he picks a lady every night to, you know, do his thing with. And so Cloud sees her going into his mansion. He's like, oh no, what is she doing? So then he goes and with Eris and they have to like get him all cross-dressed up and cutified so that, you know, he can infiltrate the place, and he has to do like a squat contest to get a wig, and he has to like lure some guy out of a bathroom with medicine to get a dress or cologne or I don't know. But yeah, it was always really funny because you got big old Popeye arms, Cloud wearing it was like a purple dress and a pigtailed wig.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I scrubbed that from my brain apparently.
Well, that was actually one of the things I was concerned about, is because one of the things that I always said, and I know we're going way off of horror here, but one of the things I always said was somewhere along the way, they switched Cloud's personality with Squall's. And it's mostly if you watch like Advent Children or if you've played the Kingdom Hearts games where Cloud is like really standoffish and emo and all like, oh, I'm too good for everyone. And Cloud's like this genuinely nice guy, because Cloud was always kind of like, he was kind of a dick at the beginning a bit. But he was kind of down to earth too, and he was funny, and he made jokes. And Squall was always the one who's like, oh, I'm so emo and everyone hates me and I'm so sad all the time. So I kind of feel like this new game's probably going to go in that emo Cloud direction instead of the classical Cloud direction, because that's where all of Square's recent things with Cloud have gone. So, which is a little disappointing to me because Cloud modeled his personality after Zack, and Zack was a totally nice dude. So,
did you play the new one?
The new Final Fantasy? 15?
Yeah.
The road trip simulator?
Yeah, road trip simulator.
I have. I have.
They're all dressed all up in this gothy garb, and they go out taking pictures of wildlife and fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, I have it. I don't know how many hours I'm into it. I get distracted because you've got so many side quests that you can do, and I'm always like, ooh, but I could continue, but I've got like 15 other side quests I could do. So I just pretty much just run around and do all the side quests and then forget that there's actually a game I'm supposed to be playing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never, 7 aside, I've never been a big Final Fantasy fan. I never understood the way it melded the science fiction future spaceships with the fantasy stuff. That always was like a big.
That's more of a later Final Fantasy thing.
But there's spaceships in the earlier one, in the SNES ones too.
Well, those were airships, not spaceships.
The backgrounds are all like circuitry and stuff. Looks very high-tech.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the more recent ones have tried to go back to more of the more fantasy-derived roots. 7 and 8 definitely were more science fiction-y than the other ones were. But 9, my favorite one, it was supposed to be like going back to the roots of actual fantasy and and stuff like that.
He told me, I forget who it was. I think it might have been Hobo, who told me that um, it was called Final Fantasy because the first game was like the last try
Hmm.
before they went out of business.
Yeah, the studio was failing. They thought it was going to be their last game ever.
The Final Fantasy. It wasn't quite the Final Fantasy because we got two, and then
And then we got
15 later.
15. And then you have 10-2 and 13-2 and 3.
Two MMOs.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking, like I remember when 10-2 came out and people would ask, why did they call it 10-2? Why didn't they just call it 11? And you'd have to explain that all the Final Fantasies are self-contained stories and they're not sequels of each other. They're just different stories and different universes even.
The talking about cross-dressing Cloud reminded me that you are actually a cosplayer. I remember the last pictures I saw. I forget what character it was, but it looked really good. Who was that?
That was Final Fantasy IX. That was Dagger from
Dagger?
Final Fantasy IX. She's the princess. Uh-huh. I did her orange jumpsuit.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yes. Which a 16-year-old princess looks much better in it than a 28-year-old full-grown woman. But
You pulled it off really well.
I was pretty proud of how that turned out. I keep saying that the next one I do is going to be Nurse Joy. I don't know if I'll actually do it, but I think it'll be fun.
Where do you typically go to when you do these cosplays?
So when I did the Dagger one, I went to Emerald City Comic Con. Comic Con actually just happened this year. We went it was 2 weeks ago. But I didn't cosplay that time.
The Spencer
So
cosplay with you?
he thought about it, which is, Spencer, my husband, is
Yes.
extremely shy, very shy. People used to joke with me that they didn't believe I had a boyfriend, fiance, husband, what have you. He's been all three since I started streaming. So, um, and so the fact that he even considered it is really funny. But he was talking about cosplaying as Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
And when we got there, he kept lamenting that there were so many, Star Lords out there, and he's like, that person's Star Lord, and that person's Star Lord. And I finally got onto him. I was like, just because they're wearing a red jacket does not mean they are Star Lord. Like, it's kind of a stretch.
How did you meet Spencer? Like he's always been like this figure in the background for your streams, but we never like saw him or met him or really talked about it.
Yeah, which is the way he wants it.
Yeah, of course.
But he and I met in college. We both went to one of the art institutes, the chain, for game art and design. We actually went to school to make video games. So I graduated like a semester ahead of him or something like that. So right out of college, I went and I was doing military contract work for about a year, building 3D models and animations for the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I did that for a year. And Spencer, right out of college, got a job at a studio that was close by. He is a very, very talented artist. He's very talented. And they didn't have any open art positions. So they put him on QA with the promise, we'll move you up to art when we have a position. And he hated it there. And so about a year after I had graduated, so it would have been about 6 months after he graduated, he got a job offer up in Seattle to work at a company out here. So we moved out here. And then that company went under 4 months after he started.
Oh shit.
And I had just gotten a job. I had been unemployed for 4 months and I had finally just gotten a job. In the same week, he lost his and was talking about moving to San Diego. And I was like, well, I just got a job. But luckily, he found something else. And so he's worked at 1, 2, 3, 4 game studios since we've been out here. He would kill me if I told you what he worked on, so I won't.
Okay. What were you doing for the military? Were you helping with their simulators?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were
troops.
They were training. They were like interactive training manuals. So I learned how to load like a 50 caliber rifle.
Nice.
Because I had to learn how to load it and unload it, and then I had to animate it with all the working parts inside of it, like understanding all the different gears and stuff that happen inside of it. So I had to like take files from that the Marine Corps would actually provide us, and then we would take equipment to military bases and we'd scan the items, 3D scan them, and then we would go in and we'd model them, and then we'd make these complex animations based on all that fun stuff. So I did a lot of storyboarding there. I did some 3D modeling, but not as much as I did storyboarding for them.
Pretty cool. Something else that we go back. Your history with the monsters goes back to when we were doing Don't Starve Together every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
You, me, and JJ and Giraffe mostly hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we were talking once about what you were gonna do with your marriage, the actual wedding. Talking about a tree that you were
Yeah.
going to plant. Did that come about?
So, yes and no. So, I'm a hippie at heart. I mean, let's be honest. And I am not religious. So we wanted to do something interesting for our unity ceremony that wasn't overly religious. And I really liked this idea of doing a tree planting ceremony. Now, this is a perfect idea if A, you have a house, and B, your wedding is in the same city you live in. But as we do not have a house and we had the wedding halfway across the country from where we live, getting the logistics of getting a tree back up here were just pretty much impossible.
That's
so
what we were talking about. Remember that?
What we did instead is we got soil from his house, his home, the place he grew up. We got soil from my parents' house. We got soil from where we met, which was at school. So we got soil from there. And then we brought soil from up here in the Seattle area. And we encouraged everyone in our family to bring some soil from their houses as well. And so we just did a unity ceremony where we kind of combined these soils into a nice big jar. And then once we combined everyone's soil together, it's really cool because it's layered and you can see where the different ones are in there. So the idea is that ultimately one day when we have room, when we have a house, we'll take that jar and we'll mix it in with the potting soil and plant a tree with all of that soil in our yard. But housing market up here is ridiculous and I may not ever own a house. So that's just a fact of life, I think.
Are you guys is Seattle like home? Are you planning to make it home in Seattle, or you're looking at somewhere else?
I don't think so. I think that at this point, if we were to move, it would be it's very unlikely. The game industry is really big up here. The hard part is getting a job in the game industry when you're up here, because it's unlike California. The jobs in games in California, they accept more entry-level people, whereas Seattle is more seasoned professionals. So it's harder to get a job in Seattle in the game industry if you're new.
Gotcha.
So the fact that Spencer is in the game industry in Seattle means that he pretty much can stay in the game industry in Seattle. So me, on the other hand, haven't gotten into games yet up here, but I'm working at doing project management work at another company. So I'm hoping I can eventually get into being a producer for games sometime in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
another thing that cropped up in your streams kind of amused me and thought about is your dog. You had to take that dog to some kind of behavioral therapist or something because he was out
Yeah.
of control. What's going on with him?
So um my dog is special. I love him. You have to understand that when we first moved out here, so what, like 7 years ago or something, it was a long time ago, I had a hard time getting a job, which was really frustrating for me because I'd never had a hard time getting a job before. It was right after the recession. And so I was really kind of bummed out all the time. And I had convinced myself that I wanted a dog, that I needed a dog. And I had the cat. You know, we still have the cat, but I was all like, I need a dog. And Spencer fought me tooth and nail on this. He was just like, no, we don't need a dog. You have no clue how much work it is. You know, we don't need a dog. And I kind of kicked and screamed a little bit and finally got my way. But it proved to be really difficult because Spencer had very specific criteria. Dog could not be over a certain size, could not weigh over a certain amount. Dog could not be certain breeds, all this stuff. And I was just like, I just want a dog. I don't care what it looks like. Just give me a dog. So, we're looking on like Pet Finder and stuff like that. And ultimately had found this dog named Scooter, which was at a shelter in Portland, Oregon. And so we drove to Portland on, it was a horrible, rainy, terrible day. I had to take off of work for it. And we got there and that dog could not have cared less if we existed. He was just like, oh, cool, you're here, whatever. And just, kind of ignored us. And Spencer was so bummed because this was like the coolest looking dog in his mind. Like, this is the perfect dog that I want. And so I said, well,
But he wasn't a puppy.
no, well, he was young, but he wasn't a puppy. And so I said, well, what's most important is that he gets along with cats. And so I asked them, I was like, do you know if he gets along with cats? Because we have a cat. Cat's been there first, so he has to get along with the cat. And they're like, well, we don't know, but let's walk him by the cat pens. So we walk him past and dog freaks out on all the cats. And I was like, nope, we're not taking home this one. And they were like, well, we have this other dog and he does really well with cats. But he's been returned several times. And I said, well, why has he been returned? And they said, well, do you have any livestock? And I said, no. And they said, well, he chases people's livestock and they don't like that. Okay, let's see this dog. And so we go to this dog, and you have to understand that when we'd been hanging out with this other dog, we'd seen them walking this dog past us. And the dog had jumped up on the fence and was barking its head off. It looked vicious. And this is the dog they take us to go see. And we go over there, and it's like the sweetest dog ever. And we're like, oh, it actually likes us. Oh, it likes cats, all great things. But then I'm thinking, but he kind of freaked out on us, when he first walked by. And they said, oh, well, he just got in here not too long ago, or the one that we had been outside with first, Scooter, had just been in not too long ago, and they had just fixed him. And they were like, it's those hormones, and it drives the other dogs crazy. Oh, okay. So we brought him home, and the first week was fantastic. Absolutely nothing wrong. Second week, we realized this dog has some severe separation anxiety. So it's like the first week, it's kind of like that honeymoon phase where they don't really do anything to upset you because they don't know you yet. And so he was a perfect little angel, like fantastic, was crate trained perfectly well. And then the second week comes along and he had started injuring himself trying to escape his crate. He was destroying things in the apartment. He took out our blinds multiple times. Um, he actually, he hurt his nose trying to get through because the crate that we had was like one of those all metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't crate him in that anymore. So the vet told us to use a plastic crate. So we bought a plastic crate for him, and he chewed through the plastic into the back of the staircase, exposing nails in the stairs, and completely destroyed his mouth. Dog's crazy. Love him, but like to this day, he's on doggy Prozac. Basically, he's on a form of fluoxetine, which is an antidepressant, I think. No, anti-anxiety. And then he's on trazodone, which is a sedative. And we have to give it to him every time we leave the apartment. And, the first thing everyone says is, oh, you don't exercise him enough and everything. But it didn't matter. Like there was a day that we went camping with him. We came back. He was falling asleep on the couch. He was exhausted. And we tried to sneak out of the apartment so that we could unload the car. And in the time that we snuck out of the apartment to unload the car, he destroyed, he took down the baby gate that was separated him from the rest of the house, and he tore up the carpet. So very high anxiety.
Crazy. My mom actually takes trazodone to sleep.
Yeah, it's a sedative. Yeah.
Strong. It's a strong medication for a dog.
Yeah, and he's been through multiple training programs, and what we've learned is that it's us and not him, basically. So he went to this doggy boot camp, which is when I first started streaming, because he was gone for about a month.
Yeah.
And he'd behave perfectly well for the trainers there. And then we would come by once a week and we would work with him. And whenever we would work with him, he wouldn't listen. He would get high strung. He would get, all of these things. And then we'd hand over the leash to the other trainer, and she'd be able to do all these things with him perfectly well. And it also found out that it was more me than Spencer. He listens to Spencer better than he listens to me. And it's because they think that he's trying to protect me when we're out walking, because he's what they call leash aggressive. He doesn't care, I guess, if Spencer gets attacked, but he cares if I do. I guess it's kind of flattering in a way, but so people, it kind of upset me at first because he is a good dog, but he really puts off people. So we would go walking and people would actually duck around the corner when they saw him because they'd seen him freak out before on a person or on another dog or whatever. So
Tell me, dogs. You gotta medicate him with Prozac and trazodone. His higher level functions go.
Yeah. And he's getting worse again. Like, he was doing really good for a long time, and now he's starting to shred boxes again. I just came home and found like a whole bunch of cardboard all over we don't even crate him anymore because he was able to Houdini himself out of them anyway. And we've never really completely figured that out. So, or just, chew through them. So my cat, on the other hand, is fantastic. I love my cat. He is very low maintenance.
frequent guest on the Scaredy Cat project.
Well, he has to be out in front. I'm amazed no, I'm not amazed. I had to take him to the vet today because he had some sort of enzyme count that was really high in his liver. And so they wanted to take an ultrasound. So now he's boycotting me because he's mad that I left him at the vet all day.
Oh.
So that's why you haven't seen him yet. Normally he'd be all up in everyone's face.
That's all for My questions. Thing you want to talk about?
Uh,
Any question? Chat for the lovely and charming MegaM00gle.
I'm trying to think. I, this
So
year's been interesting because I keep joking about it, and it's the truth. All of my friends, and this happens, I guess, when you get into your not late 30s, late 20s. All of my friends are having kids now.
mm,
And so in the first 3 months of this year, I'm not even joking you, 3 of my friends had babies within a week of each other in February. And then my sister just had her baby 2 weeks ago. So I'm now Aunt 3.0 because I have 2 nephews now and a niece.
yeah.
And then my cousin, who wasn't supposed to be due until the end of the month, is going in to have her baby tomorrow. And then I have a coworker and a friend that are having babies next week, not next week, next month. So babies everywhere. And I guess because I've been buying so many baby shower gifts, Target assumed I was pregnant. So and the funny thing is I guess they sent some sort of baby registry notification to my parents. I haven't even lived with my
Oh no.
parents for over 10 years. And I get this really excited text like, "Oh my God, are you pregnant? We just got like this baby registry thing for you." And I was like, "No, no, I'm not. Why would they be sending it to you anyway?"
Oh, kind of aggressive on Target's behalf.
What? Oh yeah. Well, I know that a lot of I work in technology. It's all that big data and stuff. They gather all this information about you and then they make assumptions about you. So they try to market things toward you.
Yeah.
So because I've been buying so many baby shower gifts, they're like, "Oh, obviously she's having a baby. Who else would spend all this money at Target on baby stuff within, 3 months?"
Proximus wants to know ambitions as a streamer. What would you like to stream?
Well, I think everyone kind of wishes for their stream to go full time or, be able to make a living off of it. Um, I don't know if that's really my ambition. I just really like hanging out and playing games, and so I think if any ambition I have as far as streaming goes, it is just to continue to meet cool people and to play all of the games that I should be playing and I haven't yet.
Mm.
I've got a huge backlog of games to get through, and just need to find the time to sit down and crank them out.
Easy.
So. I know.
I'm not the only one that's been waiting for that one.
I know. I got stuck. I feel like the last time I played, I got really frustrated.
Yeah, there's that part. The I've seen a. I can never play it again because the monsters are set places. I know where everything is by now because I watched so many people stream it. Seen people waste like 2 hours backtracking.
Yeah. The last thing I remember is like this chemistry set
Yep.
kind of thing. And I think I'd figured that part out, but then there was another room that there's like a cave in, and then I had a hard time getting out of that room. But I think I finally got out of there. But yeah, that's definitely the area that I'm in. So
It's not that one. That's kind of like the introduction.
yeah.
That chemistry thing. The place you go to after that, where you have to deal with the elevator. That's where I see people waste hours.
See, and that's that's the thing about that game is it's the sound effects. Because I remember being in that room with that chemistry set, and like I knew how to solve it, but whenever you'd move close to it, you could hear something
Yeah.
like some sort of monster, and so I'd like do something for a little bit, and I'd run away and be like, "Oh, it's gonna come at me," and I'd wait. I'd get back closer, and I'd start doing stuff again, and then I can hear it again. I gotta back away. So
Alrin's got a question, but I don't know if we should ask. Can you lick the back of your knee?
absolutely not. No,
All
I
right.
can't even lick the back of my elbow. Yeah, not even gonna try.
So help me with the D&D character.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Wayne, do I need pen and paper or Google Sheets?
You will need do you have a dice?
We don't have dice. We got virtual dice.
We got virtual dice. That's what virtual dice is for. What you need is pencil and paper.
Leave you all.
And what we first need to discuss is what race would you like to be? Okay. So the race that you are defines certain features that your character can have, certain special abilities. It also determines what languages you can speak and size, how fast you are, sometimes even what kind of weapons and stuff you can use. You have your character choice or race choices are dwarf, elf, human, and some of these have sub races too, depending on what you choose. Halfling, dragonborn, which is kind of like a humanoid dragon thing, gnome, half elf, half orc, and tiefling, which is kind of like a demon thing. Oh, there's the cat. I knew he'd come up here eventually.
Sleep lactates. Thank you, Will. Alrin suggesting goblin. Can I be a goblin? There's Stitch.
Yeah, Stitch is here now. So this book doesn't have goblin in it. There are homebrew sites that probably do.
About how about a half orc? Tell me about that.
Half orc. So half orc, these are the traits. Your strength score will automatically increase by 2, and your constitution score will increase by 1. So what's going to happen is you're going to roll virtual dice. You'll roll 4d6, so 4 6-sided dice.
Uh-huh.
And you'll want to roll that how many times? 6 times? Let me pull up.
We can. I wanna change the thingy. Like this one. I'm gonna try and do this on
Okay.
sheets. Everybody can see. Dice rules.
Do you have a character sheet?
I do not.
I'll send you one.
Yay.
So the way I see it is I kind of figure out what I want to build first. So it might be best that we kind of lay out everything that you would need to choose, and then you would choose from there. And then after I have rolled my character, then I start to kind of think about personality, which obviously shapes how you would role play in the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So you'd roll 4d6 6 times, and then you take the 3 highest dice from that roll and you add them together. So you'll want a site that shows you what the 4 results are. You would remove the lowest result and then add the rest together.
Wizards.com dice. Is that a good one?
Yeah. I just look up. Oh, Google has a dice roller too. but I don't know if you can do multiples or different dice. I use, so here's the one I use.
Where are you giving me?
I was just going to do it in Google Hangouts. So this one that you're looking at right here is going to show you the result of all four, but I don't think it'll, oh, it says results, maybe. Try doing 4d6. Let's see what it looks like.
Got a total of 18. Doesn't show me the.
Okay. So, yeah, you want something that's going to show you the individual ones. The one that I sent you will. It's just not as pretty.
That's. Codeman says you're an.
Oh, sweet. Oh, actually, that one does show it. Results. It's on the right. I don't know if you've already opened up the other one at this point.
Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? 4 6-sided. Got a 1, a 2, 2, and a.
Ooh.
Pretty bad.
Well, you know what they say? They say that low results sometimes are more interesting on a character than really high ones. So.
Sending me. You might be
So,
sending me.
oh, he's sending you another dice roller too. So that's going to be 7 as one of your values. So roll that again.
This. Oh, this is the whole.
Yeah. Okay. Which is really useful if you want to, you know, read up about the different classes and the different races and stuff.
No, am I supposed to be writing these?
I'm writing them down for you right now.
Okay.
But we'll need to figure out what dice roller you're using first, and then we'll go from there.
We'll just stick with this.
The one I sent? Okay.
Nice. And
so, yeah, roll it again.
Roll all of them?
Yeah.
4 1 1 4.
4 1 1 4. So that is 9.
10.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Blech. Okay. And then, yeah, we'll need to roll these 6 times.
So I need to. 4 more times.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 6. 15.
Yep.
It's 4d6 drop lowest.
Yeah, so that's so that one is 10. That's actually 13 because you're dropping the lowest number.
All right.
Yeah, and so it was 9 on the other one.
Right.
7, 9, 13, and then go again.
5 4 3 6.
5
15.
5 4.
It's a good roll.
3 6. Yeah, that's 15, like you said.
Got 3 5 1.
3 5 1 1, which is 9 again. And your last one?
Wow, 6 5 5 4.
6 5 5 4.
16. Look at me balling.
Yeah, those are good ones. Okay, so you have your stats, and then you get to proportion these however you want based on these traits. So the traits that you have are strength, dexterity, which is, you know, how coordinated you are, Constitution, which has to do with your ability to focus or pay attention, I guess. Intelligence, um, wisdom, and charisma. So if you are a magic user, you typically you want high intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, depending on what kind of a mage you are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be more of a physical, like warrior, then you're going to want high strength and dexterity. So
if I wanted to be like a group leader, would charisma do anything for that?
charisma is good
benefits?
for sorcerers. Think sorcerers and I think just sorcerers use charisma, and then bards.
Oh,
Okay. You can be a bard. You can
no.
play your UK. And bring up the will of the party. But charisma is also good for persuading people, intimidating people, all sorts of things. So, but it really just depends on what kind of class you want to go with, right? I mean, if you're going to be like a warrior, having high charisma is probably not very important. Unless, let's say, you consider your warrior to be like former nobility or something, and therefore you think that he should have high charisma because he's, whatever. So anyway, proficiency is something that is in the game. So there are things that you'll be proficient at, and that's determined by a lot of different things. Proficiency adds more oomph to your roles and stuff like that for certain traits, certain skills. So you had asked about half orcs. So what this says is half orcs get higher strength and higher constitution. So whatever numbers you would allot to those slots, they would get boosts based on this information.
Okay.
They mature a little bit faster than humans, reaching adulthood around the age of 14. They inherit a tendency toward the chaotic sense of the alignment spectrum. So, and you're familiar with alignment?
Yeah.
Okay. So they are normally on the chaotic side. It says because of their orc parents are not strongly inclined toward good. Half orcs raised among orcs and willing to live out their lives among them are usually on the evil side of the spectrum. Okay. Your walking speed is 30 feet, so that's a little bit slower than average. Dark vision, you can see in the dark. You gain proficiency in the intimidation skill. Relentless endurance, it says when you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead, which would mean that if someone doesn't do, if you drop to 1 or 0 hit points and they didn't do extra damage, then it wouldn't actually knock you out.
I'm feeling the half orc. He's big, right? Physically?
Yeah, physically they would be pretty big. Good. That's going to be on a different page, though. It says when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice 1 additional time and add it to the extra damage of the critical hit. And then you can speak, read, and write common and orc. Okay. So that's orcs.
Like that.
Okay. So half orc. And then you have your classes. So class is going to have to do with, obviously, how you perform in battle. So you've got a whole bunch of stuff. You have barbarian, which typically works really well with orcs or half orcs. Bards, clerics, so more like holy magic, a lot of what you would kind of consider to be like the white magic kind of stuff, mostly healing, but also divine damage, like bestowed upon them from the gods. Druids, my personal favorite, which they kind of harness the powers of nature. They can turn into animals and stuff like that. Fighter.
You have CR? You know CR.
I know CR. Hi, CR.
I met CR through you.
Yeah, you did. Fighters are going to fight with weapons. Monks, I'm pretty sure monks are just hand-to-hand combat, and I think that they get bonuses for not wearing armor, but I've never really looked much into them. Paladin is kind of a cross between a cleric and a fighter.
Are they restricted to some kind of stricture? Like they're like one paladin. I mean, I'm assuming like this is the other
No,
paladin.
you could be a chaotic evil paladin and serve like an
Sounds pretty
evil
cool.
god. There's actually in the handbook there's an appendix for the different gods, and based on like what the deities are and what their alignment is and stuff like that, you can research them and
Okay.
choose which one that you want to worship as your character. Ranger is going to be bow and arrow, long distance attacker. Rogue is going to be more of your sneaky person, stealth kills. Sorcerer, warlock, and wizard are
I
your
like
two
that.
powerful spell casters, or
I'm much
three
more
powerful.
okay.
Okay,
I think I'd be
so
either a fighter or some kind of wicked paladin.
um, okay.
Hey, Steph. Steph wants to make a character too. You want to come into the want to come into the hangout? She's been all about the
Yeah.
make you a hot dude. What's up, man?
um. So, yeah, I mean, you could be an evil paladin if you wanted to be. Let me pull up the paladin page. So we'll go over the perks that you get with each of these, and then you can decide based on that what you want to do.
As the postscript to the review, Stephanie introduced me to the product.
Okay, paladin. Proficient in all armor and all shields. Weapons are simple weapons and martial weapons. So simple weapons are going to be like clubs and stuff like that, daggers, and then martial weapons are going to be like the big like broadswords and stuff like that.
Right.
They aren't proficient in any tools. They're proficient in wisdom and charisma saving throws. And you would choose two of these to be proficient in: athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. But you're already going to get that as a bonus for your for being an orc.
Okay.
I think that's what it said.
They wouldn't stay.
No, you can't have double proficiency.
Damn. I want to intimidate everybody. Oh, Auron's got experience with the half paladin.
Your fighter, on the other hand, is also proficient in all armor, all shields, simple weapons and martial weapons, and no tools. Their saving throws are in strength and constitution. So just so that you're aware, paladins are kind of like I said this already. They're kind of like a fighter cleric. So if you're going to do a paladin, you will have spells, you will have things like that.
Steph wants to have a great sense. She won't if she's going to be around my evil half-orc paladin. He probably won't.
And then if you choose, oh, hold on, this is, oh, it is, okay.
Can you have a proficiency in abs? Commitment.
For fighters, you would choose two skills to be proficient in between acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival. So they're actually pretty similar as far as as far as weapon and armor proficiency goes, but different once you start getting into their skills.
Sorry. I'm letting everybody in Discord going over. All right. So, Steph, you want to come into the hangout? Or you want to stay in the chat? Or...
Okay.
All right. Cool. 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 Letting everybody in Discord going over Animal handling.
You know, I always choose
Quieter than at the
to be
start.
proficient in animal handling, thinking it's going to serve me really well. It's only come in handy for me once.
Okay.
But
Test. Can you guys hear me better now? Okay, continue, please.
Oh.
I'll answer when the relay's over.
Yeah, no problem. So between those two, do you have so if you choose, I should point this out to you. If you choose a paladin, you need to have high charisma because paladins use charisma to cast their spells.
Okay.
So that'd be pretty interesting to be a charismatic orc.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, this thing's not opening. Before I really decide, I'd like to know what. Oh, here we go. I want to have a look at the different religions he could.
Well, that's going to take a lot of research. So, if you want to do paladin, what I suggest you do is we just go ahead and build it.
Okay.
And then you can look at the deities and who you could possibly be serving.
Okay, nice. I think this is the same book that you have.
Yeah.
You sent me. Okay, yeah. I'll research that time.
So do you want to do paladin then?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So if you're going to do paladin, this is where we're going to want to start allotting your points that you have. You want to make sure that you have high strength, which should be your highest.
Okay.
And then charisma. And then you can portion out the rest of it from there. So that would mean that you probably want your 16 for strength and your 15 for charisma. And then you would figure out where you want to do the rest of your stuff.
Okay. So how many more rolls do I have? 4?
You've already got, so your rolls that you did were 7, 9, 13, 15, 9, and 16.
Okay.
So if you're
16 in strength and 15 in charisma.
So then you would want to figure out how dexterous you want to be, how smart you want to be. I mean, you could be extremely charismatic and dumb as a rock, and that'd probably make your character really funny. So,
is Constitution one like toughness? Tanks.
Constitution is going to come in handy for combat. Constitution effects. So let's say you're casting a spell as a sword or as a paladin, and someone attacks you. You would have to make a Constitution saving throw in order to keep casting your spell.
Right.
So if you have bonuses on your Constitution, then that's typically good. Constitution also is for initiative, which is the order that people take in battle. So if you have high Constitution and you roll high initiative, then you'll be one of the first people to attack.
Okay. Let's make Constitution the next highest.
Okay. So that'd be your 13. And then you have to figure out dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom.
Difference between intelligence and wisdom one more time, please.
Intelligence is going to be like book smarts.
Okay.
And wisdom's more like street smarts.
Okay.
Not even really street smarts, but like wisdom is going to be more like survival, understanding of religion and animals and medicine and stuff like that, whereas intelligence is going to be more about like investigation and arcana, stuff like that.
Let's do the fighting stats and then the wisdom stats. So dexterity, I guess, would be next, and then wisdom, and then intelligence.
Dexterity is going to be a 9, wisdom 9, and intelligence 7. You are going to be an interesting character. Okay. So he never sent you a character sheet. Let me send you a character sheet.
Okay.
because you'll want to start filling this out.
Because it's like a reaction to engagement. Oh, okay, I see.
Okay.
I swear to God, it's a paladin. It's page 87.
So this will let you download a zipped folder with PDFs in it that you can edit.
Beautiful.
What I recommend using, let me look at this, is the character sheet 3 pages complete.
Okay. Starter character sheets. Is this at the top?
You don't want starter character sheets because those are going to be pre-made. You want 5th edition character sheets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when you click, it'll just auto download.
Gotcha. And then 3-page complete.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Yeah. And if you pop that up on your screen, then we can go through it.
Perfect.
Start filling it out.
Get you up there first. There she is. Okay. Player name.
We can.
Yeah, I need to think about a good name.
Yeah.
What's up, Sizzler?
So what you want to do, and then again, this is going to depend on who is the DM. So the DM could start you off on 1st level, or he could say, we're going to start you off on 5th level. And then you would just go through and you would update your sheet as you need to for being 5th level. We'll go ahead and we will fill this out at 1st level.
Okay.
So where it says strength in the box on the left.
I can't edit this, can I? I'd have to print this out.
Oh, do you not have a PDF viewer? Adobe Acrobat?
No.
Oh.
It's okay. I can write it down. I can print it out later.
Okay.
And then I can make notes.
So what you want to do is each of those scores, they attribute to a modifier. So 16, the score of 16 is going to give you a +3 in that skill.
Okay.
So let me show you. Let me see if I can send you an example character sheet that I made.
All right.
I'll show you the character that I plan on playing with. Oh, I can only do images. Okay. Anyway, so the big box, so you can see where it says strength, and then it's got the box, and then it's got the circle.
Mm-hmm.
The circle underneath it is for the actual score. So that's going to be your 16 for strength. And then the box is for the modifier. And that's going to be a +3.
All right.
So that means that any kind of strength check that you do, you would roll your D20, your 20-sided die, and you would add 3
to
any of the results of that roll. Charisma is 15, and then that gets a +2.
All right. And then we said Constitution was next.
Constitution is 13, and that's a +1.
All right. And Dexterity was 9.
Dexterity and Wisdom are both 9s, and they both get -1 modifiers. So you'd roll your D20 and you'd subtract 1 from the score.
And then Intelligence was 7?
Is 7 with a -2 modifier.
Wow. What's up, Steph?
Okay. So now that you've got that part figured out, on your sheet, you're going to put down your proficiency bonus. I think at the start of the game, proficiency starts at a +2.
Okay.
So that means anything that you're proficient at, you get a bonus of 2 points for your D20 roll on it.
Cool.
So if you get a bonus, let's say, so if you scroll or zoom in a little bit on that sheet, so I can see the traits, skills stuff.
Is that enough?
Yeah, Rainbow Blight. Actually, that's where we would be playing, is on Roll20. It hasn't zoomed in yet for me. Okay. All right, I see it now. So let's say you decided that you wanted to have proficiency in acrobatics. You would gain the modifier for your dexterity, which is a +2.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Your proficiency is another +2. So that would actually be a +4 if you decided that you wanted to be proficient in acrobatics. All right. So one thing that we didn't do before is that we actually automatically increase your strength score by 2. So your 16 becomes an 18. And your constitution is going to increase by 1. So that's going to become a 14.
And this goes in the circle still instead of 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that means that your modifier for strength is going to be a +4. And your modifier for your constitution is going to be a +2.
Not charisma? Because charisma was second highest.
Charisma. It's constitution.
Okay. So it's +2 and it's still 13?
It's 14.
14. Okay.
18 and 14.
I'm a strong motherfucker.
Yeah. Where you see speed on that, you're going to put in 30 as your speed.
Oh, okay. I see speed now.
It's up at the top.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll pull up my character sheet. That'll probably be easier for me. So then for proficiencies, it says that as a half orc, you're going to gain a proficiency in intimidation.
Yes.
So that's by default. So that doesn't count against anything else. And then as a paladin, you're going to gain proficiency in your saving throws. So that's above the skills saving throws. You're going to be proficient in wisdom and charisma.
Okay.
In addition to that, you're going to choose 2 skills from this list for proficiency on the skills chart. You're already proficient in intimidation, so the other ones are athletics, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion.
Persuasion.
So that's 1. So insight would be like kind of like intuition.
Okay. The survival one?
No.
Okay. About perception?
Nope.
Okay.
You have athletics, insight, medicine, or religion.
Okay, let's do athletics.
Okay.
Gonna be a meathead. It's gonna say, call it athletics.
So you have persuasion, athletics. I'm just keeping notes for myself too, in case you need any more help. Right. And intimidation. Okay. So that's your class. Also, your hit dice is a D10. So where you see not hit point maximum, the hit dice box, you would just do 1d10. You get 1 hit dice per level. So that has to do with healing between rests.
Okay.
You can recover hit points with that during a short rest. Okay. Then you will want to figure out your spell save DC and your spell attack modifier, since you will be a spellcaster. Your spell save DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus, which is 2, plus your charisma modifier, which is 2. So your spell save DC at the onset is going to be 12.
Okay.
And your spell attack bonus is going to be +4.
At daydreaming about them D10s.
Now, when you go through this and you actually do up your sheet all nice and pretty, you'll want to go through your divine abilities that you get as a I can't speak right now, a paladin. There's different oaths you can take. And depending on which one you do, you get different abilities.
Okay.
So, a lot of this is stuff about higher levels. So yeah, you and I can always discuss that another time. So then what you want to move on to is your background.
Okay.
Which is going to also give you, we should mention down in your other proficiencies and languages area, this is where you're going to enter in your proficiencies that are given to you by your class. So you are proficient in all armor and shields, which means that you can use any of those easily. You're proficient in simple weapons and martial weapons, which means that you can add your strength bonus to any attacks with them. Or I'm sorry, a proficiency bonus to any attacks that you use with a weapon you're proficient with.
Okay.
And then you don't have any proficiencies in tools, and you can speak Orc and Common, which will come in handy because if you ever run across a character that speaks a different language, you won't be able to understand them.
Okay.
Okay. So backgrounds.
Steph's gonna be a scumbag elf bard.
Let's see here. Here we go.
It's every day I go to Walmart, admit.
Okay. So there's all sorts of different backgrounds you can choose from. For a paladin, there's certain ones that make more sense than others, but you can choose whatever you want.
What page
So
is
we'll
this
just
on?
This starts on 127.
Let's see if we're in the same. Where's that? 127. Let's see if we got the same book. '27 with the hermit right above.
127. Well, hermit is one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got acolyte, which is someone who's spent their entire life in the service of a temple, which makes sense for like clerics and paladins. Charlatans are good with people. So we can go over what they'd be proficient in, and that'll probably help you decide. Skill proficiencies for an acolyte are insight and religion. The skill proficiencies for a charlatan are deception and sleight of hand. Criminals, self-explanatory. You can guess what kind of background that is. Their skill proficiencies are deception and stealth. Yeah. Entertainer, acrobatics and performance. So that's good for if you're like a bard. A folk hero is kind of like someone who saved their village and everyone loves them now. Animal handling and survival are theirs. Guild artisan, insight and persuasion would be theirs. Hermit is medicine and religion. A noble, history and persuasion. An outlander would be kind of like a kind of similar to a hermit. You know, they grow up out in the wild. Athletics and survival for outlanders. Sage is someone who's very bookish. They study a lot. Arcana and history. A sailor would be athletics and perception. And then a soldier. Athletics and intimidation. And urchin, street urchin, like a kid that grew up on the streets.
Right.
Sleight of hand and stealth.
Okay. Do we need to do this before we continue, or can I have time to daydream up?
You don't have to do this before you continue, but it does determine more proficiencies for your character. And also, it could also mean more languages for your character, and also helps determine what kind of gear your character starts off with.
Okay.
So, I mean, you don't have to figure it out right now, but
I'm thinking that our hero might be some kind of criminal, whether reformed or not, I don't know. Maybe criminal or something else. Criminal or outlander. Just to get more of... Well, we've already got athletics and survival both. We don't have survival, we got athletics.
Mm-hmm.
I think criminal would make more sense to give me 2 different proficiencies.
Okay. So you would gain a proficiency in deception and stealth.
And I can come up with a nice little story for him later.
Mm-hmm. Now, this page also lets you roll for certain things if you want to. You can dream up your own character too, but if you want to leave it up to fate and randomness, you can roll a dice and figure out what your criminal specialty is. So if you roll a D8, depending on what you get, you could be a blackmailer, a burglar, a highway robber, or you could just say, you know what, my person is a con artist, and then just come up with your own.
Let's leave it to the dice. Let's see. Let's see what the universe would decree. 4.
That would be fence, which I don't even know what that means.
I think it's some kind of like you steal something and you sell it on the black market kind of thing. I think that's what a fence is.
Individual who knowingly buys stolen property for later resale. Yep, you are correct.
Well, I got some business savvy, apparently.
And so then you can also do this with your character personality traits. You can either come up with them on your own, or you can let it be random and choose it based on what you roll here. Okay. So do you want to keep going with the random?
Sure.
All right. Let's do a personality trait. That's a D8.
All right, 1D8.
And then just so you know where these go, if you look at the thing, there is 4 kind of slim boxes above the features and traits large box. It says personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. This is what we're figuring out right now.
Okay. And just for the record, cockmongler is not a acceptable criminal background. Thank you, Steph. Okay, I got a 6.
6 for personality trait says, I don't pay attention to the risks in a situation. Never tell me the odds.
Perfect. Never think, just jump in.
Yep. And then you want to roll a D6 for your ideal.
Okay. Personality cockmongler, please. 5.
People. People. I'm loyal to my friends, not to any ideals, and everyone else can take a trip down the sticks for all I care. So neutral.
I like that.
So
Somewhat.
your character would probably be chaotic neutral.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then bond is another
Steph,
D6.
please. 1. I'm trying to pay off an old debt I owe to a generous benefactor.
Yep.
I could go with defense background.
Yeah. And then your flaw is also a D6.
Okay. 2.
When faced with a choice between money and my friends, I usually choose the money.
Yeah, buddy. Does it all like tend to fall perfectly together like this usually?
No, actually, I've had some really weird ones when I've tried to roll it this way. But this one does really work really well together. So, actually, you know what I should do?
God damn it, Steph. I almost wrote cockmongler.
I'm going to start filling this out also so that I can just do this. 15, Constitution 14, Intelligence is 7, Wisdom 9.
Floss Mongols too much cock. What is it with you guys tonight? What is this? I am a half-orc paladin, Master Ninja. God damn.
4 plus 2 plus 2 minus 1. No, this is minus 2. Minus 2. Minus 1. Minus 1. Charisma proficiency is plus 2. You have proficiency in wisdom and charisma. And then we've said proficiency in persuasion, athletics,
and then deception and stealth.
Intimidation.
Yes.
Deception and stealth. Okay. Speed of 30. 1d10 hit die. Your personality traits were...
that's the fence. Don't pay attention to odds. People greedy.
So this was 6, 5, 1, and 2. Okay. All right. So then let's talk about what items you're going to start off with.
Okay.
Okay. As a criminal, you start off with specific equipment, and then you also start off with specific equipment as a paladin.
Okay. So. And she said that I could be a paladin for any god that I wanted to, Master Ninja. Don't assume my religion.
Could be. That's also a thing for warlocks, which my character that I built for this game is a warlock. And they basically take on the powers of gods, or not really gods. They could be like the fae, like fairies, or they could be like demons, or any kind of like otherworldly, like Lovecraftian elder gods and stuff like that. So I got a street urchin half elf warlock that has like is under the service of a demon. I'm really excited about her, by the way. She's gonna be badass.
Did you handcraft her, or did you leave that one up to the dice rolls?
I handcrafted her. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, paladin. Here we go. So you're going to start off with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background. So your background is going to give you a crowbar.
Ooh, nice. Weapon of choice.
A set of dark common clothes.
This is criminal wear.
Including a hood. And a pouch containing 15 gold pieces.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, and you're going to gain proficiency in the following tools: a gaming set and thieves' tools.
What is the what's the first one?
A gaming set,
Gaming set.
like cards. You could be like,
I got you.
Yeah.
And thieves' tools, like pick locks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then your class is going to give you the following. Let me find the weapons table because you're going to need that. You're going to get a martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons.
I think 2 martial weapons.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, well.
Double wielding. Let's find the weapon thing so you can determine what weapons you want. They're right here. Okay. So for martial weapons, you can do a battle axe, a flail, a glaive, a great axe, great sword. This is page 149 if you want to look at it.
Okay.
Halberd, lance, longsword, maul, morning star, pike, rapier, scimitar, short sword, trident, war pick, war hammer, or a whip.
Oh, a whip. Is any okay? It says on the right if they're two-handed, but I don't want two-handed weapons. So I will take a flail. That sounds cool. Flail. What's the difference between what does finesse mean?
I used to know this.
Auron, you know what finesse is?
I'm gay.
Finesse. When making an attack with a finesse weapon, you use your choice of strength or dexterity. So you could choose to attack with dexterity instead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't care about that.
So 1d8 flail, and that's bludgeoning damage.
We'll do a flail and a battle axe.
Battle axe. Got a body like a battle axe. It's d8. So, and it's slashing. And then you get your attack bonus plus your proficiency bonus because you're proficient in both of these. So that's going to be 4 plus 2. So these are plus 6 attack bonuses.
Ooh.
So that means when you make an attack, this doesn't have to do with damage. When you make an attack, you roll your d20, and then you would add a plus 6 to that roll.
Okay.
And then if you succeeded in attacking, then you would roll your d8. Both of these are d8 damage. So you would roll a d8 for your damage.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So you get 5 javelins or any simple melee weapon.
Any simple melee weapon. I'll take just I'll take a shank. Give me a dagger.
Okay. Dagger is 1d4. Piercing.
My lucky prison shank.
And then you should be pretty sure you're proficient in it. So that's going to be a plus 6 as well. Okay. A priest's pack or an explorer's pack.
Explorers.
Okay. Chainmail and a holy symbol. which would just be like a symbol of whatever god you worship.
Okay, we haven't
It's
decided
what
that
they
yet.
call a focus. It's what you cast your magic through.
Okay.
So we said explore. Oops. Explore pack, chainmail, and a holy symbol. So then we can figure out what your armor class is based on this, because you're chainmail. So your armor class is going to be
Medium.
16. Which means that for someone to attack you, they have to roll a 16 or more on their d20 to succeed in attacking you.
And get fucked.
But you have disadvantage on stealth
Okay.
when you're wearing your chainmail.
Makes sense.
Okay. And it weighs like 55 pounds. So there is also like a formula that you can do to determine how much weight you can carry on your person, which we won't really get into because you're not going to have too much to start off with no matter what.
Yeah.
But that is something that you should know.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we figured out your armor class. Your initiative is, I think it's 8 plus your constitution. Wait, no, sorry. Your initiative is your constitution modifier, I think.
I think Alrin said it was dexterity.
Let's look it up. 177. At the very beginning of every combat, you roll initiative by making a dexterity check. Yep. So it's your dexterity modifier.
So it's -1.
It's +2. Oh, wait a minute. No, you're right. I got this mixed up. -1. Initiative -1.
That sucks. It's all right. I'm tough.
Okay. Okay. So let's see what we've got missing here. You determined that your class is Paladin. 1. Your background is criminal. Alignment is chaotic neutral. Race, half orc. And your spellcasting ability is charisma. Spell save DC is 12, and your spell bonus is 4. Okay. So you'll want to look at spells eventually. I'll go over spell slots in a little bit. Let's finish. Spells are a whole different ballpark.
Okay. As far as the name goes, let's let the chat name my character. So anybody with the good name or a criminal, greedy, half-orc, paladin, just shout it out, and we'll go through the good ones.
Which I'm assuming is not going to include cockmongler.
I'm scared somebody's gonna come up with something like that.
All right. So let's do this. Let's go over some of your traits or your features and traits. So dark vision. This is something that you want to keep in here. That's going to go in your features and traits part. So it says, thanks to your orc blood, you have superior vision in the dark and dim conditions. You can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. You can't discern color in darkness, only shades of gray.
Okay.
We already did that. Relentless Endurance, which is if you get dropped to 0 hit points, you actually only get dropped to 1.
Okay. Bruce McScreech.
Savage Attacks, which is when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice an additional time and add it to the extra damage of the critical hit. So if you roll a d20, a natural 20, that basically means you get to roll 2 hit dice for your weapon. That's the thing about this. You're constantly flipping pages.
Yeah.
For your character, you can lay on hands. You can heal wounds by touching someone.
Ooh.
You have a pool of healing power that replenishes when you take a long rest. With that pool, you can restore a total number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. So it means at first level, you can restore 5 hit points. And at 10th level, you can restore 50. As an action, you can touch a creature and draw power from the pool to restore a number of hit points to that creature, up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. Alternately, you can expend 5 hit points from your pool of healing to cure the target of one disease or neutralize poison from affecting it. You can cure multiple diseases and neutralize multiple poisons with a single use of lay on hands, expending hit points separately for each one. So basically, you can sacrifice some of your health to heal someone, cure them from poison or some sort of ailment.
I like that. Now, where am I writing this down at?
That's going to go in your features and traits.
Okay.
It says you also have a divine sense. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. Okay. You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead, of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. Within the same radius, you can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell.
Okay.
You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. So, 3 times at level 1. And I imagine it would get replenished after a long rest.
I like it.
Once you hit 2nd level, you would determine what your fighting style is. So you've got defensive, you have dueling, you have great weapon fighting, and you have protection. And then 2nd level also is you learn to draw on the divine magic through meditation and prayer to cast spells as a cleric does. And then you would have your preparing and casting of spells.
Okay.
So the way spells work is you have cantrips, which don't exert any kind of spell slots or energy or anything. And then for every level, you have a specific number of spell slots that you have. You can cast a spell at a higher spell slot and make it more powerful.
Okay.
But you can't cast... I don't think you can cast a high-level spell slot on a low-level spell slot. A high-level spell on a low-level slot.
Okay.
So you can go up but not down. And there's a formula for determining the number of spell slots you have based on your level.
Is it ascending or descending? Like level 1, like will level 1 be the highest level of the spell, or would be level 8?
Level 1 is the lowest level of... Well, cantrip is the lowest level of spells because that's a 0.
Okay.
But level 1s are the lowest spell slot.
Gotcha.
Lowest level spell slot. Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you've pretty much built out a character at this point.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm excited about this guy.
So when you go through and you do your proficiencies and stuff,
Uh,
this is how it works. So if you look at your saving throws section on the sheet,
okay.
if you don't have proficiency in something, then you get your just normal modifier. So your strength, since you're not proficient in your strength saving throw, is a +4. Dexterity is -1. Constitution is +2. Intelligence is -1. But then you have proficiency in your wisdom and charisma saving throws. So that means you're going to add 2 points to each of those. So your wisdom is -1, which is going to give you a +1 for a saving throw on wisdom. And your charisma is going to give you a +4.
Right on.
So and that's going to work the exact same way in skills. So when you go down the skills list, you'll notice in parentheses it says the modifier. So like dexterity, wisdom, whatever. So you would put the modifier from that far left column over there unless you're proficient in that skill, which you can mark proficiency off in those little circles next to them. And then you would add another 2 points to anything you're proficient in.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Bruce, on your awesome new character that we've got?
We got Bruce McScrooge and Burramog for names. I'm gonna troll the Discord for some optional ones, and we'll vote. I kind of like Burramog. We'll see.
Yeah, kind of sounds like Balrog.
Yeah, my Street Fighter character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
How tall do half orcs get?
Let's do that next. Let's do that next. So.
What page will we find half orcs on?
Oh, we have to do it. It's not over on this section, I don't think. It is further on in the book. We're in a place that doesn't make any sense. Height and weight. Okay, so as a half orc, your base height is 4'10".
What?
But there's a height modifier, which means that you're going to add 2d10. So you're going to roll 2d10, and you would add that number of inches on top of 4'10". So if you rolled a 2, you would be 5 foot even and a very short orc.
That would suck. 2d10.
Yep.
I got a 3 and an 8.
13.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's 11.
Plus 11.
Yeah.
You're 5 feet 9 inches.
That sucks. What kind of half orc am I? That's bullshit. I'm taller than that in real life, and I'm just a human.
Then you're going to roll 2d6.
Okay. I better be fat at least.
You want to be fat?
Yep, I guess I'm going to be fat. I got 2 5s.
So that's going to be...
Don't even start, Steph. Ugh. 5 9.
So you actually take that 11 and you're going to multiply that by the 10, right?
Okay.
And so your orc's going to weigh a lot. 250 pounds.
Yeah, boy.
He's a big guy.
My half orc paladin is the same height as Steph. I'm not
Wait, he's
short in
taller
real
than
life,
me.
Iron. You only beat me by an inch. Sorry, what'd you say?
Said he's still taller than me.
I'm taller than my half orc.
um, there's no formula for determining age or anything like that. So you
Okay.
can just say whatever. The book says that they come of age at about 14. So they'd be like
And
their equivalent of being 18 at about 14.
okay, so same kind of
Um,
human life expectancy. Like 30 would be pretty old.
probably.
Right.
Well, I mean, I imagine it's pretty similar to humans, but a little lower.
Okay.
It says they age noticeably faster and rarely live longer than 75 years.
Okay. He'll be like 30.
30. White wizened old man.
Yeah, he hit a some kind of crisis. Oh my god, I'm 30. My life's almost over. Now I've got to go do some adventure.
As far as looks, this doesn't really talk about like common traits.
Just for Mohawk, just for looks, put Mohawk.
Mohawk.
That's it.
Well, it looks for like eye color, skin color, hair color.
Just Mohawk for everything.
Mohawk hair, Mohawk skin,
Yeah.
Mohawk eye.
Fashions is eyelashes.
Says that any half orc who's lived among or near orcs has scars,
Okay.
whether they are marks of humiliation or of pride, recounting their past exploits and injuries. Such a half orc living among humans might display these scars proudly or hide them in shame.
Okay. It's a legacy item stuff. I'm not really a half orc either.
We have a half orc in my Sunday campaign that I do. He's a half orc barbarian, and so he's always raging. Oh my god, he's so strong though. It's amazing. And when he goes down, it like the rest of us are screwed. There's a lot of magic users in that group, and then paladin who's really strong, and then the orc barbarian who's really strong. And when one of those guys go down, we all really hurt.
Everybody's hating on Buromog. There. Yeah, do you guys have any suggestions for names? Right now, Buromog is winning. Total Bayvex.
All right. So let's see what else. Spells. Bruce spells. That's what else. That's sorcerer.
We knew that was going to come up stuff.
All right, so at first level, you don't get anything.
I got
but
lay on hands and divine sense.
Well, no, I mean like as far as spells go, actual spells, because those are abilities.
Oh, okay.
So they don't actually cost any spell slots.
Are you using a name generator, Alrin? Drael sounds elvish. You don't like elf. Our guy's gonna be total racist.
Garrick. Actually, that's interesting. Some of these talk about like any kind of like racist or inclinations they have toward other races. Oh my goodness! So like elves and dwarves don't like each other.
Let's name him Garrick Trump, and he'll be really racist. Gordon Crisp. You know Gordon Crisp?
Me?
Yeah, I think he's referring to you as shoddy. I don't imagine he's referring to me as shoddy. Shoddy doing boo.
Who's saying this? Oh, I
Gordon
see.
Crisp.
Gordon Crisp.
This is the legendary MegaM00gle, twitch.tv
Helping build a D&D character.
/ Moogle, MegaM00gle with 2 zeros.
2 zeros.
Not O's. Follow her, she's awesome. This is not Bruce McHuge on the webcam.
What? You don't think I look like a Bruce McHuge? I take offense to that.
Mm.
I am very Bruce and McHuge. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much done at this point. So now all you have to do is decide what you want to look like. Decide what you want to name yourself.
Decide religion. Or
decide
whatever
who
god I'm paladin for.
Mm-hmm.
And
so your guy isn't actually evil. So your character is actually going to be neutral, which means that he looks more to benefit himself than others. He doesn't really care about the welfare of others. Yeah. He cares about himself. Yeah. And then chaotic means he has absolutely no regard at all for the rules. So, and actually you will be the, we'll both be chaotic neutrals in that game. If I use my,
awesome.
My, warlock.
We'll both be trying to sell each other out.
I'm actually really proud of the character I created for that game. I think she was one of my first ones that I really did on my really built from scratch completely, even the backstory.
I don't think we're not on Skype, so we can't screen share, but could you give us like a brief
run through of my character?
Yeah, we want to know about your character.
Her name is MegaM00gle. And she was she's a half elf who was orphaned at a young age. Her mother was of nobility and was visiting this city as like as a goodwill ambassador kind of thing to the city. And while she was there, her mother was a high elf, was raped and impregnated. And due to the shame of having a half elf child, she left her baby in the care of a local temple. So MegaM00gle was raised in a temple, was given a first name, a given name, a birth name, but no surname because her mother did not want to really claim her as hers. And then after being raised in the temple for several years, it was overthrown by a competing temple. And so the children who'd been in the care of the temple were scattered out on the streets. And so she kind of started to live a life of a street urchin, stealing and trying to make her way. But while she was in the temple, had never been exposed to the racism that humans feel toward half elves because she's not completely human. Mm-hmm. So it's her first time experiencing that. She's young. She's probably like, I think I said she's 15 or something. Yeah, 15. So she gets really competitive and really wants to prove herself and kind of be the best of all the kids in her street gang. But still has to deal with their mockery all the time. And one night while stealing, she runs across a man who she's trying to pickpocket. And he catches her, grabs her by the hand, and says, let's see, because I had this all written out as an actual story. Nice. One night, while sleuthing around a dark alleyway, I tried to pick the pocket of what I thought to be an old man in a traveling cloak. Faster than what I thought would have been possible, he grabbed my hand, and when he looked at me, his eyes were yellow. "Girl, what is your name?" he asked. I was too frightened to answer. "What if I told you I could give you power enough that you wouldn't need to steal or live on the street?" I didn't believe his words, but he seemed to understand that immediately, and he let go of my hand. And with a simple waving gesture of his hand, a loaf of bread appeared out of thin air. He gave it to me.
Ooh.
I ran off with the bread and did not look back. After some time, I became aware of a feeling I was being watched, and many times out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw him lurking. It wasn't long before we spoke again. What if I told you they'd never tease you again? He croaked in his voice. Suddenly, I was more receptive. I just need your hand. I gave it to him, and after shaking his icy cold hand, in mine was left a blood-red crystal pulsating with power. The man vanished with just a whisper of his name, Belial. So, I have a demon patron as a warlock.
Awesome.
But I am chaotic neutral, having been on the streets and having to fend for myself for a long time. And so it'll be interesting to see if she kind of goes over into the evil side, because she does have a demon giving her her powers.
Right on.
I was really proud of her. So.
Sounds cool. Sounds like somebody that Burmug would use in his fences. The front.
It's true. I could. I am very stealthy. I have proficiency in stealth, sleight of hand, persuasion, perception, history, and arcana. And I can speak Common, Elvish, and Abysmal, since I have a patron who is a demon, so therefore I can speak demon.
He's making Auron jealous. He wants to speak Abysmal, whichever. He said that earlier.
So yeah, I'm really excited. I've never done a warlock before, but I typically go toward the spell casting kind of people. I'm typically druids, or I've been clerics. So yeah, I need to really kind of read up on her, because the way that spells work for her is spell slots, you only get a very small number, and they're all at the same level. So that means that you can't like cast some first level spells, to try to, save your big spells for later. All of your spells are going to be at the same level. And so if you're level 10, they're all going to be like really powerful spells. And if you're level 1, they'll be really weak spells. So.
Right on. As far as actually doing this, we started the art club, and that goes every 2 Saturdays. So this Saturday we've got an art club. We're going to be making candy bracelets. You think we could do a week from tomorrow? Do you think your DM could do that?
I'd have to ask him and make sure he's still interested and he still has an opening on Saturdays, right? You're saying Saturday?
Yeah.
So Friday. Tomorrow's Friday.
Sorry, I mean Saturday.
Okay, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll double check with him and see if he still has an opening.
Okay, so if he has an opening a week from Saturday, or I guess it'd be 3 weeks from Saturday.
Let's look at a calendar here so I can give him a date. So Saturday is the 17th. Next Saturday is the 24th. And then the Saturday after that's the 31st.
So we'd have art club on the 18th. It would be...
I'm sorry, yes, 18th, 25th, and 1st. You're right.
So the 26th would be open Saturday, and then the week after that.
And 25th?
Or the 2 weeks after that. It would be the 26th, and then the 9th.
So Saturday, right? So the 1st and the 9th.
God damn it, I'm looking at Sunday, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be the 1st and...
The 8th.
The 8th. No, 1st and 15th.
Oh, you're skipping...
Our club will be on the 8th, so we'd be open on the 1st and the 15th.
So you do it every other week?
Yeah. We've got art club every 2 Saturdays.
Okay. I'll see if he'd be open to doing it every other week.
Okay. Right on. Well, thank you very much for your time, MegaM00gle. I really enjoyed hanging with you tonight.
making our D&D
Yeah, that
characters.
was fun. I like that.
Yeah, so I'll talk to John. I'll make sure he still has an opening. And if he does, then I'll ask him what level he wants us to start off at. And then if I imagine he'll probably start us off at like level 5 or something.
Okay.
And so if that's the case, I'll help you get your character up to speed on level 5. Because you get bonuses after certain levels and new abilities and
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Do you have any times coming up where you could help? Like we could get everybody together and like Steph wants to make a character. Alrin already knows, so if you're not available, Alrin would probably help us make characters.
yeah, yeah, and so next week is actually going to be a really busy week for me.
Okay.
It is one of the 2 busiest weeks of the year at my job. So during the week, I will not be available, but I'd probably be available on the weekend.
All right.
Assuming I don't get yanked into work on the weekend, which I really, really hope I don't. But I'm probably going to be working like a 60-hour week next week.
Oh, jeez.
But after that, then that's after that, then it should be pretty much back to normal for me.
Okay, so maybe some kind of Sunday appointment, Sunday afternoon.
As long as it's,
I mean, in a week from Sunday.
as long as it is after 2 p.m. my time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Because Sunday's my D&D campaign, so
okay.
I'm normally playing until about 2.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
That is my my game where I am a druid.
Gotcha.
My forest elf druid.
Awesome.
Who is incredibly smart and incredibly wise and extremely awkward around people. She has very low charisma score. I think it's the lowest score I've ever rolled. It's terrible.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for taking your night out.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. I had a good time.
Good. I'm glad. So next week we will be interviewing Outer Heaven Big Boss. That's going to be a big departure from our charming little MegaM00gle. He is a crazy tattooed guy that streams in like a Slipknot mask. He's got different masks. Got a very, very horror like themed stream. He's a hoot. You guys are gonna like him. All right.
All right. Bye, everyone. Had fun.
Good night.
Good night.